Chris, looking back on the 2013 season, other than injuries, what will jump out at you when you look back on the season?
Well, certainly we could defend with anybody, and we knew going into the season that that was our strength. You know, our back line, our goalkeepers, our midfield. You know, we're very athletic, we're fit, we're strong, and you know, we didn't give up a lot of goals over the season. We only gave up 17 goals in 20 games. So we knew that was the strength of our season, and that was good to see that came to fruition.
You guys, it's unbelievable. We would have to look back through the record books, but you guys played 13 1-0 games, and you won 7 of them. And you know, in the game of soccer, things even out, right? I mean, you might win a 1-0 game. Somewhere down the road, you're going to lose a 1-0 game, and that 1-0 loss came against Keene State. Did you sort of think that maybe your luck ran out in the 1-0 games when you got to the Keene game?
No, I think that was happening all year. We knew going in that we were probably going to struggle to score a little bit. We needed everyone healthy. We needed everybody playing well in the attacking third. You know, that was a question for us going into the season. I don't know if we really had a true center forward this year on the team. We had players that were fast and technical, but maybe were more suited to the flank play or maybe a midfield play. And we just knew we didn't have a true striker, a true forward going in, so we were going to have to piece it together. And most of our games, you know, we have a very tough, demanding, challenging schedule, and we knew we were going to have a lot of tight games if everyone was healthy. So we knew going in that it was going to be a challenge to score a little bit this year based on our schedule. So when injuries happened and we lost a few players in the midfield and some flank play, you know, it became more challenging, and that's why we had so many close 1-0 games.
Well, that talks so much about your defense. So basically, your defense in 13 out of 20 games gave up none or 1 goal. You can't ask for more than that, can you?
Kept us in the game.
Yeah.
Every game, except for a couple games during the season. You know, we were in every game, certainly at halftime and deep into the game, and gave us a chance to get a good result. So, you know, the foundation of your team, your program in any sport, you got to be able to defend. And I thought we did that very well. And, you know, now we got to work on, you know, getting some more players in that are just more creative, more dangerous, and can put the ball in the net.
Talk about, Chris, the Little East Conference playoffs. Now, you didn't have the best, record-wise, you didn't have the best regular season, but talk about that run through the playoffs where you knocked off, on the road, a couple of top, higher-seeded teams.
Well, certainly our schedule, as we just mentioned, is very challenging, and I think that prepares us for the end of the year. It's going to give us a chance to, whether we host or go on the road, be competitive in our league playoffs. And we make that schedule for that reason. You know, we want to be challenged throughout the year, which, you know, really toughens up a team mentally as well as physically. And I think it gave us a great chance to be successful in the conference tournament. Natural rivals, Western Connecticut, now UMass Boston and Keene State. You know, we don't have to get too pumped up to play those teams. The players, the coaches know what's on the line, whether it's regular season or the tournament. So, you know, our team goes into there with a kind of, you know, a new refreshing outlook in the playoffs. We've played a demanding schedule. We're not intimidated by anybody. It's certainly tough to win on the road, but, you know, I think it was to our, you know, mental, you know, toughness that we were able to get a couple wins on the road and be very competitive in the final.
Last game of the regular season, you lose to Plymouth, first time in 14 years. You played well. You probably deserved to score 2 or 3, but you didn't, and you lost 1-0. And you talked about this earlier. Was that sort of did you guys sort of get together after that and say, hey, we got to get it together. We got to salvage this season?
I think it was more, you know, the players were frustrated, the coaches were frustrated at the end of the year. We probably should have had 3 or 4 wins at the end of the year, and we ended up getting, I think, 1 tie and a couple losses. So I think it was more frustration, knowing we played well. We probably dominated most of those games, but we just didn't get that finishing goal, that last pass, that last shot. So I think they knew, wow, we're right there. You know, it's a fresh start. You know, when you start the playoffs, you kind of throw your records out the window. You made the playoffs, And it's a fresh start. We knew, hey, if we continue to play well and create chances, some of those are going to go in sooner or later. So I think it was a good chance just to regroup, reflect on the season, and move forward. And it was kind of a fresh outlook for the team.
When I asked you at the beginning, saying when you look back on this season, you're going to think of the injuries, which are massive this year. But the other thing you'll probably look at is that great win at UMass Boston, the #1 seed, without your #1 goalie. It seemed like your defense really rallied around Taylor Shannon, who was thrust into being the goalie, who had never played before. You could almost see it in their eyes that they were going to protect Taylor for that game, weren't they?
Yes. And, sometimes that's what a team needs. They need a rallying point, as you mentioned, something to get the team together and focus and, do it for each other. And I think that it just happened to come out that way. Great kid. Taylor's a great kid, very good player. She missed about 4 weeks of the season with a stress fracture in her foot. So she's usually our defensive center mid and great ball winner, and certainly was part of the defense that, was so strong during most of the season. So she was cleared to play late in the season during the tournament, and when we didn't have another goalie to play because they were both injured, she kind of volunteered with a little motivation from the coaching staff, and she did it, and she had the right attitude, and the kids rallied around her, and it just helped, I think, focus the team a little bit more at that point of the season.
She looked like Tuukka Rask in that game against UMass Boston. She made a couple of nice kick saves.
I don't know if we're going to go that far, although she is a Bruins fan.
Is that right?
She's a high-end Bruins fan, but
it shows.
But hey, anything to keep the ball in the net, and that's what I told her. Just keep the ball out of the net.
And that's the philosophy she took going into that. Chris, last question. You had a real nice, dedicated group of seniors on this year's team. Just talk about each senior very briefly, what they brought to the program for the number of years that they played.
Well, I think Blair Church, she actually played 3 years in the program. She transferred after a year at Central Connecticut. And, she just brought a steady influence. She could play in the midfield. We used her up top. Just a player that had good experience and could keep the ball for us and play some big balls over the top. Meg Godwin played in the back for us for 4 years. She was our center back from Manchester, Connecticut. She went through a lot in her 4 years. She had some injuries and she had some health issues she had to deal with. So for her to finish her senior year and play the full year out pretty much, that was really big for her. She was a great ball winner, destroyer in the back for us. She was certainly part of the defense that was so good and strong for us, not only this year, but over 4 years. And, she brought that stability in the back for us. Nicole Leonard played in the outside midfield, and she had her share of injuries too. The last 2 years, she missed a lot of playing time due to a foot injury and some health issues. And, I think for her to finish out the year was good. She was a dangerous player for us when healthy. And not having her on the field for big chunks of the season the last 2 years, really helped the team and certainly hurt her. But, she was able to finish her career at the end, and she was pretty dangerous the last couple games of the season. Tamar Murab was probably one of our most steadiest players in the midfield. She could defend, she could win balls, she could attack and go forward. She was a constant present for us, not only this year in the midfield, but for 4 years, and we're really going to miss her consistent play. And Kate Kennedy also in the midfield. She was a center mid and an outside mid, and she brought great endurance, a lot of positive energy, just a very consistent player for us on and off the field academically and athletically. So certainly you can't just replace those kids with 1 or 2 kids or even a kid each, that you can't replace experience. So they went through a lot of positive things in 4 years. So hopefully they take that with them and, they spread that and help us recruit.
Well, Chris, congratulations. Just having another outstanding season and good luck next year.
Okay, thank you very much.